Good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday, so Talk Tuesday. Good boy, Tucker. Go on. So today we have Tucker, Phoebe, Saxon, and Murby. Go, 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 go. And we're at the straight road today. Not quite sure if I'm going to be able to get my car out of where I parked it, but we're here. Yeah, it's beautiful. And I'm snowshoeing. It's basically just how I function in winter. Another friend of mine who also uses this area has been going in boots. And and Murphy. And I definitely prefer the snowshoes. Especially, we're gonna break some more new trail. I've been doing it in little baby steps, but Murphy tries to kill me. But up here, I want to connect the loop that I've been working on. Okay, so it's kind of tricky. I've had a bunch of questions the past week. And this week are basically catching up on training requests and things like that. I'm very behind because, of course, I couldn't do anything with lockdown. So I've got quite a few topics. I'm getting a lot of puppy requests, and I'll cover that one first. Is like, how early should you start training your puppy? And my answer is, as soon as you bring them home. For example, we started training Nova at 8 weeks old. Murphy I started as soon as we got him, but of course he was much older. And as some of you may know, I am on a wait list for a puppy. I searched through many breeders to find the breeder that I'm happy with. Don't know if you guys can see Tucker. Funny kid. Yeah, so we're on a list for puppies. And to give you an idea of how early you can start training puppies, they're around 5 weeks old now. I think they just turned 5 weeks on Friday. So they'll be 6 weeks this Friday. And she's already starting to clicker train them. And what that means is training them that a positive marker means food. So in her case, a clicker, I tend to use, and you'll hear me use that pretty frequently, as a yes. As well as a good or good job. Like, that's what I mean by positive marker. And I have to say, we're pretty happy. We still don't know if we're going to get a puppy. It depends on the personalities and stuff. But our fingers are crossed. And I mostly just shared that to give you an idea. Like, 5 weeks old, you're already starting those foundations. At 8 weeks old, when you get them home, even just working on their name, the eye contact and sit is such a good place to start. Are we gonna do that? Saxon has no idea what's going on. Oh, that was great. Sorry, so what happened there is Tucker was smelling probably a rodent or something that's under the snow. And Saxon thought he was play bowing. Kids. Hey, you can go in front of me. Like, no, I'm staying in your back trail. Yeah, so that's kind of my puppy question. And then, of course, I tend to get a lot of calls about reactivity and stuff. And lately, my answer has been what's going on at home. So one of the first things I ask when I meet a dog that has been labeled by their owners as reactive or fearful or aggressive, I usually don't take those words too much to heart, because to an average person it means something different than to a dog trainer, which is why I always set up the free consults, so I can see for myself. Sometimes I even ask for videos if it's like a consistent thing. Like, I obviously don't want you to try to trigger the behavior, but if it is consistent and I can see it on video, that is actually really, really helpful to me. Because 9 times out of 10, when I get there, I see a completely different dog than the dog that they're telling me about. But that's still useful to me because I get a good gauge of the dog's personality when they're on their best behavior, but also see the differences in what the owners say is happening and what he's showing me. So yeah, so my first question is typically like, what's the routine like at home? Do you free feed is a big one, because as you guys know, like, food drive can be so important when you're talking about training. And depending on how you manage their food, you may or may not have a food drive, especially if you're overfeeding. And that's so easy to do, because you just want to follow the chart that's on the bag. That makes sense. They make the food. They should know how much food you should feed your dog. But I've gone into before that it depends on the dog. It depends on their metabolism. And you should really just follow sort of what they look like as far as how much to feed. So if you notice they don't have a nip in the waist, you're feeding too much. Or if there's consistently food left in the bowl, you're feeding too much. If you have questions about that, you know what to do. But in the meantime, so food drive is one of those things. But also, like, if they bark and carry on at the door at home, it's likely that they're gonna bring that behavior out on walk. If they can get super amped up but they have no off switch at home, that's just gonna follow through. So these are the kinds of things that I ask about. And also, like, pure genetics falls into that as well. Like, different dogs were bred for different things. This is a good mix actually for that. So Tucker is lab husky, and you'll see how he's always in the front. He instigates a lot of the zoomies. He loves to run and hunting. Like, even right there, he's hunting, right? And on our walks to date, he has not gotten anything, knock on wood, because when I see him go a little too hunty, because that's a word, then I just tell him off and come back. I do a quick recall. I tell him to leave it, and that's that. Phoebe, hi, good girl, go, is a terrier. Well, terrier mix of some kind. Phoebe is an Iqaluit special, so don't actually know what she is. But I would lean heavily into terrier. And just like Hamish. Good girl, go. Yeah, we'll go straight for a bit. I'll do the loop when I don't have a camera in my hand. And in her genetics are things like nipping, because terriers a lot of the time use nipping to communicate. Big prey drive, things like that. Where's Murphy? Murphy, go. Go. Oh, sorry, Phoebe's good girl. So he's half English Bull Terrier, half Boston Terrier. And note the terrier in both those things. So he does have a pretty high prey drive. And that's something I try to nip in the bud pretty early, because I don't want murdered tiny things at my house. English Bull Terriers have a pretty long history. For a long time, they were the quote-unquote gentleman's dog in England. And so, generally speaking, they have a pretty laid-back and family-oriented personality. Like, he's a family dog. They're stubborn as all get out. And when you have a mixed breed, it's kind of tricky to figure out which genetics are coming to the fore, right? While you can have the best of both of the parents, you can also have the worst of most of the parents, but more likely you have some sort of mixed bag of both. And that you just, like we just watched, like you can see here, he's also the fun police. He has decided that Saxon is okay after don't know how long, but he was excited to see him this morning, so there's that. And Saxon himself, so Saxon is a Bernese mountain dog, and basically a farm dog in the mountains. A lot of them can be trained for search and rescue. They, generally speaking, have pretty chill personalities, though I have met some interesting cases with that as well. The thing about genetics is it's like a general rule, and responsible breeders breed for great personality traits. However, you get the not so great breeders too. An example of that. Oh my god, we're at 12 minutes. Sorry. Okay, last story time. So my first dog ever was Bouvier de Fond, 120 pound guardian livestock dog, working dog, and they're bred to herd cattle by body checking them. So you can imagine. Now, our breeder was a responsible breeder. Tony was great, and we got some really good traits. But when I was younger and we were showing him earning some of his titles, we ran into a not so responsible breeder, though I'm sure he thought differently. And he told us flat out that he bred for size and aggression. He bred guard dogs, and he wanted to stud Zeus, and we told him no, because that's just wasn't something we were interested in. Like, don't get me wrong, I would have done the guard training with him. Go. I forget the name of that. It's a German name. I 100% would do that, but there's no way that I would have. He was already an oversized, like 120 pounds is pretty big for Bouvier. And just the thought of what could be done with those puppies was enough that was not our thing. Anyway, okay. That was my daily Tuesday babble. A little bit longer. Sorry about that. I hope you guys are having a good day, as much fun as the dogs are having right now. And if you have any questions about this or any other video, you know what to do. Child. Okay, Murphy is stepping on my snowshoes. Yeah, so I guess that's it. Talk soon. Cheers.